and we will call the meeting to order with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Commissioner Kirsch, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Join me in a moment of prayer here. Heavenly Father, we ask for your assistance in helping us make decisions that are in the best interest of those we serve. We ask you to, all of us, to lead us where you need us. And we hope that you are with us during this meeting. We ask all this through your Son. Amen.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Schuck,
Present.
Commissioner Kirschner.
So I gotta say here or present? I don't know what to choose.
Here. You're gonna split vote. I'm here and present.
It's America, you can say whatever you want.
So they say.
Okay, so we're all ready to go. I will accept the motion to approve the digital audio recording of the previous board session, May 5th, Thursday, May 5th, for our regular session.
I will so move.
Second.
Probably also our EMS meeting,
And
because we had a
we
meeting.
will add that we approve the digital recording of our EMS meeting that evening, May 5th, 7 o'clock as well.
Thanks.
I will amend my motion to approve both.
Second the amended motion. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuck,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. So we'll start out with, it's EMS week, and so with us today we have a couple representatives from our county EMS. And Danny, are you you both gonna speak? You're welcome. So do I have to pry some information out of you?
I told her she
Okay,
didn't really have
so,
to talk.
This is Ken's job, not
Okay.
usually
We have our
mine.
assistant county EMS administrator, Danny, here with Darren Mack, who's one of our ECHO paramedics. And so thank you. You know, you could say something in the end. Okay, Mike will come up with a way to pry something out. But I think this is EMS week, and last Thursday we had the opportunity to go visit Columbus on the Hill. It was interesting when we arrived, the City of Tiffin school bus was in front, and there were nurses with signs parading all around, so it was a healthcare day. But it was really impressive. There were EMS chiefs and directors from all over the county, and they were in their dress blues and stripes, and it was just really, Stacy went with us, Commissioner Schuff. So we had the opportunity to meet with Representative Click and Senator Reineke's office, Joe, and staff there. And really the big push for that meeting was not only to recognize EMS, but to push for status for third EMS. So essential services today in the state of Ohio is law enforcement and fire. And if you have EMS behind fire, you're essential. But if you're just EMS, like Sandusky County, or Seneca County, or Bascom, or North Central EMS, you're not essential. So, and I have to admit, with all the chiefs from the other, and Stacy, Commissioner, you were there, nobody could believe it, right? You just take it for granted, right? You're a former
Yeah, I did not know
everything. Yeah, so
You
so so what that means is, you know, the state legislature does not fund the county jail or the volunteer fire departments or the city fire departments or EMS, but having that status, essential status, which was that the right word, essential service,
Yeah,
service status, allows you to apply for grants, federal money, and there's things like our county EMS, we couldn't get PPP because we weren't essential. We had to go through EMA, hey, John Spark, can we borrow some gloves? Where every fire department in the county got all kinds of assistance. So that was the gist of the meeting, and it's just the beginning. It was pretty exciting, well received, and so I want to make that comment as very appropriate to kind of leading into this.
And to put it in a little bit of perspective,
Yes.
during that same period of time, Walmart workers were considered
There you go.
essential. So, that, and they're fine people, they do a hell of a job, but are they more essential than EMS?
Well, and because of that, they received, someone told me, like $1 billion in
Yeah.
federal aid.
Yeah, and
crazy.
you gave me the number, 12 states consider
think it's
EMS
11.
essential?
I think
But
it's 11,
basically,
12.
Ben, standalone EMS is not an essential service.
If you're having a heart attack, it is.
Correct.
Right, yeah, ask the person who needs it,
So we start with little things like that.
Yes.
Danny and Darren, and just to continue to help. We did have our EMS meeting. Both of you were there. We had a great presentation from Greg Eniger from Sentinel. I think everybody's nodding, and it was pretty exciting. Next year, though, there will be a program for both fire and EMS where Sentinel students can come out with their designations and go into fire and EMS out of high school or on through college. So
So Danny, tell us,
I knew I'm waiting on you.
how many full-time EMS workers do we have now in the county approximately, and volunteers?
Currently, we have our 3 full-time echoes, and we have 6 full-time EMS personnel out that are in the Bloomville and Bettsville stations.
And of those 6, what is their professional level? What?
We
Advanced
do
EMT?
have a paramedic. We have an advanced EMT. The others are basic EMTs. I do believe we have one right now that I'm going to start applying for the funding or the tuition for medic school. So we do have one interested in that, currently filling out the paperwork. I do have 2 others that have stressed high interest in moving on and becoming medics as well. I do believe we have a couple that are going to be starting orientation, and one of them is going to also be a medic as well. So slowly and surely,
Yeah.
we are definitely, and our volunteers, I do believe we're still sitting at probably about 40.
Okay.
I would definitely have to look at the numbers,
Yeah,
but yes,
I know that changes as time goes on, but
yes.
I mean, what we're talking about doing is gone from a volunteer system supplemented by full-time people to a full-time system supplemented by volunteers.
Yes.
And that's kind of the mix we want to get to, right? So, to go through the levels one time. Well, I mean, if you're in the county and you make a 911 call, who can you expect to arrive at the scene?
Who you're going to expect is definitely we have the Echo unit, who anytime a county EMS gets dispatched, our paramedic does follow. That way, if it is an all basic truck, we are able to continue the ALS prevention if needed. All of our basics have all of the capabilities to start handling calls. BLS, they assist in getting everything ready for the ALS care. We do have a great team out there right now, volunteers, and our paid personnel as well. We definitely have great crews out there that are coming to any emergency.
At what level can somebody that shows up on the scene take doctor's orders and actually administer care at the scene?
So doctor's orders, actually basics can also give medications. We do have protocols set up for their scope of practice, all the way up to the medic who can give the cardiac life support. So they also have unfortunate circumstances, but we are starting to get different meds in for our medics that, yesterday they were able to administer a TXA, which helps with the internal bleeding on a patient. So our capabilities are wide for basic, advanced, and medics. They all have the capabilities to start pre-hospital care.
And Darren, you come from both sides, the volunteer side, the paid side, and you're an advocate of both, and so I've seen you at a lot of meetings, appreciate that. And any comments there as how we continue to work together through all this?
It's going well. I think with all the talk with all of our political leaders that we have, I think we're all doing a great job of getting together and doing what we need to do to move forward and keep on progressing to give our citizens the best care we can. So everybody, I think, is doing a great job.
I see one of the Macs were Volunteer of the Year. That's when it's part of your family
that's,
over there in the
Michael
rural
Mark.
area.
He's been doing this
Your
since
family?
1980.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And of course, you're one of our paid ECHO personnel, so, yeah, I appreciate everything you're doing. It's great.
And that is one thing for the EMS week is Rise to the Challenge. So I do have to say that every day our volunteers rise to that challenge every day. Paid personnel does it every day. And now with the talks, the elected officials, you also are a part of rising to the challenge because you guys are helping us move into the right direction. So I have to say thank you to you guys as well for taking the next level for this. So volunteers, we can't do it without them. And just like my paid people right now, they have been bending over, helping me out right now with some scheduling, and every day they rise to the challenge. So I am very grateful for the group that we have.
Good. Commissioner Schuff, any questions?
You might have just got a quote in the paper right there.
I was just thinking that I was writing verbatim, so yeah, probably.
No, thank you for all that you do, and no, we're happy to be a part of this. And since day one when I started here at the commissioner's office, I mean, it wasn't always easy. We've hit some speed bumps along the way, but I'm confident that we'll get through it. And appreciate all of your hard work, the hard work of our volunteers, and even our leadership out in the townships, the villages and stuff. It's not easy always coming together and agreeing on stuff, but I think we see the big picture. So kudos to everybody.
Thank you.
Do you want to mention the idea of maybe sending a letter down to Columbus?
Oh, yes, thank you.
I just wanted to remind you. Yep.
Yes, you discussed that. Is it okay, commissioners, that we send a letter from us in support of third EMS,
service. Yep.
third service becoming essential?
Absolutely.
Designated essential. Thank you. Stacy, you gotta keep my
Yeah.
words.
Yeah, I mean, I would jump on that a little bit and say we want to make sure that we send it to Reineke, that we send it to Click, that we send it to the Speaker of the House, that we send it to the Senate President, and whoever's in charge of that committee.
Yep.
I'm not sure what committee that comes
Yeah.
under.
I'll have to look
But-
into that. Safety service probably.
Yeah, there's a chairman
Mike Ditto,
that takes it on, so,
Gas
yeah,
count.
and Mike will help us.
We get some people from Sandusky County down there as well. Might not hurt to get their autographs on the letter as well. 'Cause, I mean,
right? That's a good point.
Yeah, we were thinking maybe a joint letter. That's kind of,
With the commissioners.
Commissioner
All-
Paradis
all
and I
six
talked about it
commissioners
Tuesday.
will be
Yeah.
there.
So, okay, I'll draft something up. We can work together and maybe joint letter with Sandusky County Commissioners if they're up for it. Okay.
Anything else?
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Do you guys want to get a photo with the proclamation?
You want to read the proclamation?
Absolutely, yeah. Good, let's do it. Do we want to get a photo? Can we pry them up for a photo?
I got my smile on.
Okay.
Danny's like, they were gonna forget.
What do you want, President?
Well, we're gonna have Tyler read it while we see it.
I'm the designated reader.
He sure is.
Stacy knows I get out of whack.
My face.
Thank you very much for everything.
Come on up.
Switch with
Could we move the chairs, guys?
He's our,
Thank you.
you sound pretty good on those radio commercials too, by the way. You have a good voice.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, thank you guys. Good to go.
Thanks.
Last week in county.
Appreciate it.
All right, so we'll read the, did this backwards, thank you.
Thank you.
Truth be known, I was hyper, I had to stand up.
You know,
You guys-
stretch the legs
Sorry,
out.
everybody.
Proclamation in the picture.
Okay. Go ahead, thank you.
All right, so we have a proclamation for National EMS Week, which is from May 15th to the 21st. Whereas the Seneca County Board of Commissioners wholeheartedly believes that emergency medical services are vital and essential, the EMS providers across many agencies in Seneca County, whether it be paid or volunteer personnel, deserve our respect and appreciation. And whereas EMS personnel teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, providing care to those who need it in the community who may be facing one of the most difficult days in their lives. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. Emergency medical services have grown to fill a gap in providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of emergency medical responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of the emergency medical services team, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. It is appropriate and important to recognize the value and accomplishments of the EMS providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. In witness thereof, we, the Seneca County Board of Commissioners, have hereunto set our hand to the proclamation this 19th day of May in the year of our Lord 2022 as National EMS Week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, thank you. Okay. Back to work. Next on the agenda, Jeff, would you like to come up and introduce yourself, and then you have the floor.
Right.
Okay?
Got my slide
Yep.
shown in there somewhere. And some handouts that I'll give here in a moment. Okay, while you're pulling that up, just want to thank Commissioner Schuff for coming out and visiting NWOCYC and for inviting us back to talk a little bit more about it. I'm Jeff Endicott, and I'm a board member of the camp, Northwestern Ohio Christian Youth Camp. I don't have Dee with me today. She's in Texas, so you just get me. I have my wife is with me here, Brenda. She's supporting me. So, want to share some things with you. Try to be efficient with time here. I've got 3 things I'd like to get in front of you today in about 10 minutes. So the first one is kind of a virtual tour with some pictures of the camp to walk you through it. We'll go very quickly through those, and then show you a little bit about what's happening over the next couple months, and then finally a little bit about the future of the camp that we can share with you. So if we look at the slides here, first of all, the purpose of the camp, we talked about this before, but it is a place where we want to give people the chance to get away from their everyday, and this is youth and us adults as well, to look at God's Word, to reflect on that, to spend some time with building relationships, encouraging one another, having fun, a little physical activity as well, and really just building our hope in Jesus Christ and the peace that brings to us. So we're sharing that. So let's get some pictures up here to show you. Next slide.
Sure.
Okay, so here's the entrance. So if you're coming down 131, I believe it is, this is the entrance. There's a long stone drive. Next slide. As you're going down the stone drive, up on the right, we have our chapel. It's a simple building, but every day that's used during our camp weeks for singing and Bible lessons. Next slide, please. In front of that chapel is a rather large open field where we can play games like wiffle ball or kickball or slip and slide, and in this case the kids are doing some type of a running event. I'm not sure what they were up to, but next slide. Also in front of the chapel is a couple of sand volleyball courts. You can see the chapel off in the background there. Next slide. And then moving up right along the banks of the Sandusky River, and Tyler, I don't think we got down to the amphitheater, but this is literally on the banks of the Sandusky River. And here you've got Dee teaching some of our youngest campers some sign language to go along with the songs that we're singing there at camp. Next slide. And then we get to our dining hall as you're coming up the drive. This is our dining hall built in 1940. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it here in a few slides, but this is where we have our kitchen. All the meals are served, and we have a recreation room and canteen. So if you notice here, before we go to the next slide, notice the green benches out there, because go to the next slide, please. I'm going to spin you around to where now you're looking from the dining hall out into an open play area. This looks like it's a morning activity where the kids are just waking up and maybe doing some stretches and getting their day started. In the back there you can see a fence row. That is the Sandusky River, just beyond that fence line. Next slide, please. Also, we put the flag up and do the pledge just like you did this morning. So pleased to see that here, and we do that each day at camp. Next slide. This next slide gives you a view. I want you to kind of look back beyond the kids here having fun. The cabins back there. This is the girls' side of our cabins. And if you go to the next slide, you can get a little bit better look at one of the older cabins. So this one is vintage 1940 or thereabouts as well. We have 8 girls' cabins. Some of them are like this, and the next slide shows you the newer type that we're building, and we have 2 like this at this point. And then there's 7 boys' cabins as well. They're similar, but the newer cabins are a little more spacious, a little more modern, and the girls tend to fight over those as well. So it's all good. In the middle of the campground, or roughly the middle, we have a ravine that conveniently separates the boys' cabins from the girls' cabins, which is not a bad scenario. But we have a few bridges. This is a swinging bridge. If you go to the next slide, we cross over the swinging bridge, and it takes us to our pool. So this is an Olympic-sized pool that the kids look forward to getting into every afternoon on a hot summer day. Here we have a baptism of a young lady from just last year. We also play some other games and aerobic activities in the pool as well.
Remind me again about the pool. It's the
The pool, if it's true or not, I don't know. It's been passed as a legend, kind of, that we have the only outdoor Olympic-size concrete pool in the United States. So really, if you think about it, if that's true, you think about how God has blessed this camp. That pool has survived when so many others have not. The concrete doesn't typically last that long, right? It tends to break down, but
80 years.
yeah, that's our famous pool. But it's a nice pool. Next slide, please. Next to the pool, a couple boys here in front of the basketball court. So we've got some basketball courts there and some fun happening that day. Next slide. What's next? Oh, okay. One of our newer cabins. This cabin was built specifically for our cooks who take care of us every day. So we wanted to take care of them, and volunteers built this new cabin for them. Next slide. And then this is my last picture of the camp. So this is really where most days wrap up. Now this is on the last day of camp for one of our weeks, but during the day. But in the evenings, this is where camp kind of wraps things up for the day, and the kids will come and sit around, sing songs. You can imagine a fire burning there, kind of cool in the air. It's a peaceful place and a peaceful way to wrap up a day of camp before you go climb into your bunk and call it a day. So we have about, I counted 31 different structures on site, including the pool and the fire circle, and a lot of maintenance and upkeep on those. And the bulk of that is done through volunteers. my wife and I are headed over there today to do a little bit of work, so we just try to keep things going with ourselves. Next slide, please. So one of the buildings, and this is, I think we may have mentioned this last time, our dining hall is finally getting to the point beyond repair, so we are looking to replace that. We've been fundraising for the last 12 months really hard, and we just crossed over $355,000 that we've raised in those 12 months. That's going to go toward the new dining hall. If all goes well, we should be breaking ground on that dining hall in August, taking this one down and putting the, the new one up. The goal that would be completed and ready to go for the next season in 2023. Next slide. Excuse me. So here's a fun slide. Speaking of fundraising, this is our biggest fundraiser. This is Tim Nowlin. He's probably on his bicycle right now because he's doing about a 1,200-mile bike ride around the perimeter of Ohio as his fundraiser to generate contributions toward the camp, and he's raised a lot. The goal there in the second bold bullet that's shown there really sums it up. Tim's wanting to inspire people to recognize and trust that God can break unhealthy cycles of life. And he and his wife are perfect examples of how God used the camp to do that. He and his wife, both their fathers were alcoholics and somewhat abusive. And now Tim and his wife met at camp. They have 4 beautiful daughters, all married with grandkids, and God has broken that cycle in his family, and he is trying to convey that message and raise some money for the camp at the same time. So he's out riding. He's down on the Ohio River today. Okay, next slide, please. So some other things that are going on here in May, and you're all invited, and the community is invited to come out and be a part of them. I'm going to speak to them pretty briefly. Our rally day, Tim's going to ride in if he's able to make it in time. He's going to ride in on the 28th. That's a week from this Saturday. We're going to have a celebration there from noon to 4. It's going to be a carnival type atmosphere with games, prizes, food booths, that kind of activity. So you're welcome to come out to that. Next slide, please. On the same day, earlier in the morning at 11, we're going to do our first 5K on the camp property that we've ever done. 3 laps around the property works out to about a 5K, and I'm going to be out marching that today and marking off where the start and finish ought to be and sort all that out. But we'll be doing a race if you'd like to come walk or run that. And then Sunday afternoon from 1 to 4, there's some folks coming out, maybe a dozen or more, coming out who've been a part of Camp Pittenger, which was our camp before we purchased it. So going back in some history there, it's an opportunity to come talk to some people that were involved in a camp years ago or their family members. And we're going to have some folks there from the university as well who are doing some research on the camp. So I have flyers for those. I'll leave with you. And all these flyers have my name and phone number at the bottom if anybody has any questions. Okay, next slide. Getting into, so we were through May, now what about June and July? This is what's happened. This is a typical summer for us. We're going to be holding our normal all ages and teen weeks. The Passion of the Christ is the theme for each of those. In addition to those weeks, we'll have an adult wellness week, which I've got a flyer for that as well. Dee leads that. The adult wellness week's a little bit different from the rest, you can imagine. That's really about whole wellness. You're talking about spiritual wellness, emotional, mental, physical wellness, the whole package. And you can see how that works with the flyer that's there. And that's one of those, that is a week where you can come for a single day and just have a look at it, or you can come stay for the whole week, whatever you like to do. Okay, and the other ages weeks, I guess, to comment on those, typically an all ages week has 50 to 100 kids, and then our normal ratio of staff to kids, or kids to staff, is about 2 to 1. So for every 2 campers, we've got 1 staff, which is pretty well covered. But like I said, the camp is for adults too, so we all benefit from being there as well. Okay. So I'm wrapping it up here. We believe the future's bright. We're trying to do more and accelerate some things at the camp for the longevity of it. This camp impacts a lot of kids every summer, and 1 week can make a difference in their lives. It can and does make a difference in their lives. Some things beyond those weeks and events that we're trying to do. We're looking into historical preservation of some of the cabins, and maybe if there's some work assistance, like I said, it's all volunteer. So if there's any work assistance where people wanted to volunteer for a day or a week, they could come out and help us. I'd be glad to organize something like that. Grant opportunities, we were originally looking at a grant, and I called Commissioner Schuff to talk about that. Later learned that that grant isn't available in Ohio. So we're still open to grants. We've not done them before, so we're new to them. But if you see something that you think might apply to us or might apply to you, that you can utilize our camp in some way, we'd be glad to talk about it.
I'd reach out to Jody and Ryan Bolt at the Tiffin Historic, or at the Tiffin Charitable Foundation. I know they have a couple brochures of just various grants applying to different things, whether it's youth program and education, but she'd be able to steer you in the right direction if you want to talk with her.
Okay, appreciate that lead. We will definitely do that. Camp rentals are coming up. We've done some camp rentals in the past, but with the new dining hall, we think we have a good offering for future camp rentals. And then community outreach like we're doing now, just getting on people's radar so you know we're there and folks can come see us. And that's all I have. Be glad to take questions. You can see more about the camp at nwocyc.org.
Great. Thank you.
Enough for
Thank you
today?
being here.
All right. Appreciate you guys letting us come back.
How many acres is?
It's about 30 acres. I'm not
And
sure the
all of
exact.
it's located in Seneca County. Right? Or is
Not
it part it
all of
over
the, it's kind
into
of,
Wyandotte?
there is some that goes into Wyandotte.
Yeah, okay.
All the structures are in Seneca
Seneca.
County. Yeah, we're right on the Sandusky River.
You're
It
right on
bends
the line
around
there,
down there.
yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
And it was CA Kraut that got a lot of the money or land donated as far as that
Yes.
went, correct?
Historically, yes, we're just learning some of this from the students at the University of Tiffin.
Can't remember if I brought that up in a previous report or not, but he was the city school superintendent for 47 years.
Oh, wow.
Lived to be 100. Lived to be 102.
Really?
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
Thank you,
Thank
Jeff. You guys can head out if you want to. You got a lot to do.
Okay.
So
Yep,
sneak
we're
out,
into
you
the
can leave.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming, and should be a nice day to get some work done.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
All right,
you.
you guys have a good day.
Commissioner reports, Commissioner Schuff.
Thank you. It's been a busy week. This morning was over at the Fostoria Economic Development Corporation meeting. All I can say about it is wow. They always have something going on or something in the pipeline, and not usually just one or two things. I mean, it's just, there's a lot going on over there. With their spec buildings, with everything that they have, they're working towards some major employers here in the area. It's not just beneficial to Fostoria, it's very beneficial to the region. Renee's gonna give a report next week, so I don't wanna steal any of that thunder, but just some of the stuff that they have cooking is just, I'm constantly impressed. As Commissioner Paradiso had spoke about earlier when we had the EMS folks in here, we did take a trip down to Columbus last Thursday, very productive. I will say it makes a huge difference when you have state representatives and senators that make time for you, have you come in, and that are going to bat for you. But I'm constantly impressed with the work that Gary's doing, and same with Senator Reineke. It's just nice to be heard and have local representation that is actually trying to represent you down in Columbus. As far as the business contest goes for Fostoria, it's launched Fostoria. Those applications were closed out 2 days ago. So they have 10 applications turned in for that. So you're gonna see one new business coming in to Seneca County for sure, possibly 2 or 3, but we've had some really good applicants. Got to look through those applications yesterday, so we got some very impressive stuff coming out of there. Excuse me. Also, wanted to talk about the parking lot party here tonight. That's in downtown Tiffin from 5 to 8. Leafy Oaks also has a ribbon cutting through the Chamber of 5. You heading down to that one, Bill?
I am.
All right, okay. Well, good. Lastly, this is more of a question, I guess, for Stacy. So when we sold the truck to Bascom, did we take our stickers off of the side of it?
They were gonna do that.
Okay. Okay, well, I drove by this morning, I had to double check myself or check my glasses, it looks like it still says Seneca County EMS on that. Just wanted to make sure that we knew about that, or hopefully they're gonna wrap it soon, but just wanna make sure we're not in any trouble there. Secondly, I had a good discussion with Ford and Don Manel here. They seem to be having some issues with the Richland County Building Department. I keep hearing this more and more from different individuals, business owners, developers. They have some concerning issues, so they have some information for us, and they're gonna be sending out an email, but just didn't want anybody to be blindsided. But Richland County, there's some people having issues with them again, so just wanna make sure that we're listening to our developers and business owners here in the county, but I'm getting a lot more complaints here again lately, so I'll leave it at that.
Well, as a follow-up to that, we're aware of the fact that Sandusky County has employed a third-party vendor to do their building permits. And the thought, we did talk to them about possibly joining into that. They weren't certain whether there was enough activity in Seneca County to justify it. But the decision was made to see how that goes with them for a year or so. And then sit down with the Sandusky County Commissioners to discuss whether we could do a joint venture. We have had, on multiple occasions over the years, Mansfield in here.
They've gone through some director changes.
Yeah, a lot of them. We've had a number of local contractors very concerned about the length of time it took for permits and follow-ups, et cetera. So this is an ongoing issue. It seemed to get better for a while, but obviously it's rearing its ugly head again, and this is construction season. So probably the best thing to do is accelerate our decision about that, and maybe call Mansfield in one more time to ask what they're up to and what the process has been. They've been, I don't want to say ignoring us, but the only time that they seem to show up is when we pressure them that the time's come and we may have to be cutting relationships with them, and then they come in and Ben, you probably worked with them years ago too. Same deal.
Still do.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Is it difficult? Is it very difficult?
I don't manage that part of the landfill but I have heard, that it's definitely a dynamic that they work with, although I haven't heard any negative comments from our people. And I would be the one that they would go to if they were having trouble, so.
I know Ashland just dropped them and they went on their own, did their own thing, and I guess things are just really taking off or booming over there, but it's just very concerning to me when we have Manel Melling and some of our larger employers that their projects are getting log jammed and just things are getting held up. I know the coffee shop over there is having issues in Fostoria. They mentioned about half a dozen other businesses, but I mean, I hear it all the time here in Tiffin. Just their overall demeanor and attitude. Like I said, it's not the first time I've heard it. It's been numerous, but we need to have a tough discussion about that, I think, hopefully.
Yeah, so I think we ought to have a conversation with Sandusky County Commissioners again to see how they're doing with the way they went. We had talked to Bowling Green, we had talked to Toledo, we had talked to the folks who went to Ashland County. So this has been a discussion item quite frequently, and maybe the time has finally come to take some action. We slap them and they get better, and then we have a problem 6 months later. So.
Okay, anything wrong with that? You want to call Sandusky County?
I'd be happy to.
I talked to Teresa. I'm getting some information from Teresa.
Do some research.
Or even if we did like a partnership with them, I mean, we have enough going on, I think, in the area. I mean, if we team up with Sandusky County or at least do some research, I mean, there's got to be a way to keep it more local here, and someone's going to answer to us and help us as opposed to being a roadblock, but it's important.
Yeah,
It's important to our businesses.
I haven't heard it's as bad as maybe we're leaning to believe here, but I know there's some issues.
For the commissioners, I'll happily check on that with
Yeah.
the person that does that, and I'll report back to you.
I will call a couple of local contractors who I really don't want to call them out at this point because
Right.
I don't.
I know who to call.
Well, the guys are the ones who are complaining, but I do have 2 or 3 major contractors who have had concerns.
And some of our projects we've got going on, I mean, our contractors that are working on some of our buildings haven't really said anything. I would assume if they were getting held up, they'd let us know. But
Yeah, you would think so.
I mean, I can't imagine how many construction projects are going on right now and with the economy the way it is, you
Yeah.
know, maybe it's just a struggle keeping up, but it's good to look
kind
into.
of research, you know, the good thing is there is another option, there never was another option before. So we can look at them both.
Yeah, so if we can goose them and try to get them in here.
Yeah,
That would be
discussion.
good next week.
Commissioner report, over to you.
I did the radio this morning. The sad part of that is that this was, John Kearns, couldn't even be there this morning, but this was gonna be the final interview with John. John's done such a nice job. WTTF has been very kind to us, in allowing us to be on that, on the radio virtually, is it once a month? or-
Once a week.
Once a week,
Yeah.
yeah. So they get enough commissioner information once a week, and we obviously rotate there, and every once in a while, an elected official gets in and updates them on their situation. So
Yeah.
we're glad that continues. We're sad that John will no longer be part of that. We had half a day, 3/4 of a day session with the Board of Revisions yesterday. Nothing too major to report there. The same old cast of characters asking for relief for the most part. Most of them are the big guys of the world, but there are some legitimate concerns amongst some of our constituents, and the Board of Revisions is a good thing to have. They have a place to vent their concern about the value of their property, and in some cases they have real legitimate arguments. In some cases, not so much.
You've been doing this a long time, right?
Yeah.
Because I keep avoiding that committee. I've skirted that for 3 years.
too.
So we'll put Commissioner Schauf or Commissioner Frankert on that next year. Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Good, and we had an airport meeting, went great, had the opportunity to attend North Central Electric groundbreaking yesterday. Adam Gilmore's here, he was out there expanding, they're domiciled in our county, it's great. Klaus Construction will be the contractor. They're adding on a community room that's open to the public anytime, which is nice. You just sign up for it. So we continue to work that relationship along with, we had some broadband discussions this morning and out there with their board. I had a chance to spend a little time with them. That's good. I just want to acknowledge Judge Meyer's report on his family intervention court. He emailed us a report. I mean, they put a lot of time in that. It's thorough. It's well done. They're doing a great job over there. And kudos to you, Judge Meyer, and your staff. Appreciate that.
Tried to get them to come over, but, some people are shy.
Yeah, they're shy. They do such a great job, and he may be the most humble person in the county. So we just want to thank you for what you're doing. Any old business? Old business. We will be.
I just think that, after observations after a few years, elected officials like Judge Meyer, it's been an absolute pleasure, and a number of others too. We don't mention them very often, but they ask for their budgets, they stick to them. When it's something that's extra special, when they call and ask for something, we pay more attention. Just because they don't ask that often, we want to pay attention. So it's Jay and it's a number of others, but since we're talking about Jay at this point, I want to tell folks that he really does run an efficient court, and we're very proud to be part of that in some small way.
Good. Thank you. Old business, we will not be in session in June. There's a week. Okay, so
Like
you
the
know what's
16th?
going.
For the month of June?
No,
There's a week in June. I just want to make sure we get
not
that.
that you'll notice.
Cancel June, I don't want to turn 25.
Yeah,
What the heck happened to this board?
if you'd like us to do that,
June the
we
16th, well, Freddie canceled Christmas work.
So,
June 12th, that
no,
week.
June 16th
June
is when we
16th, we
cancel.
will not have a meeting,
Thanks,
just
guys.
for the record. And
I'll be on my
we're not
way.
going to schedule a makeup meeting. And we do have an EMS meeting, I believe it was for the 23rd.
Yes.
So there'll be an EMS meeting.
We'll have two that day.
It'll be 2 that day, yeah. Okay, so that's old business, that's all I have. Over to you, Stace, new business.
Well, I just wanted a couple calendar things, see if either of you,
Go.
any of you were going to the Attica dedication on Saturday. I think Tony, maybe you said you were gonna be there.
Yeah, so we'll go.
And then I just got a call from Jim Distel last week, said they're having a groundbreaking. Clinton Township's having groundbreaking at 6 o'clock on Monday, and asked if the commissioners would be able to attend. Apparently they're building a new township building along
Fire
with.
station.
Yep, along with
Oh,
the fire station.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a-
calendar.
That's on 101?
Yeah,
What's the date of that? Date and time?
Monday on, at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And I think that was it. So new business. Okay.
Attica Saturday at 3. 3 Saturday.
The Attica thing? Yeah, 3 o'clock. Yep, 3 o'clock.
So it's hard, so I think you made the statement, there's not enough going on in our county
But there is.
for building permits. That's hard to believe. We're in the top 10, Adam, and jobs and development in the country. And there's groundbreaking things going on all the time. I mean, it's, you know, we're blessed, I guess. Okay.
Well, actually, if you look at Sandusky County, looking into both counties, we're in the top 10.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
All right, I got a request from Common Pleas 2. They need an additional $97,924.66 into their probation fund grant. This is for funds needed to pay for probation services contract. I have another request. They need an additional $36,350 into their, what was their other fund? Justice Reinvestment and Incentive Grant Fund, in their contract services line. Additional funds needed to pay the J. Reed probation services expenses. They're asking for an additional $68,075 in their contract services line for the TCAP grant. And these are all grants, money they brought into the county. And they also are asking for an additional $4,000 in supplies, additional funds needed to pay their LexisNexis, ComDoc, and additional supplies. And then, oh wow, it logged me off. Jeez. And I have to do the authentication, love it. I think there was only one financial left, that was our transfers out.
That's right.
Yeah, $100,000 into our transfers outline. We had reduced staff last year, Nikki had left, and normally what our leases do, they get paid in through the general fund. And years ago, you know, commissioners had said all of our leases would go into the capital improvement fund. So we just got sidetracked last year. That was something Nikki had did, and I didn't relay to Kylie that that's what we needed to do. So we had enough money for the 2022, but we'd have to put additional money that will get transferred over to the capital
Was there
improvement.
something that the auditor requested with leases going forward? Are we booking it different, or that Julie brought up? Okay.
Leases differently? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, just the way we recognize them, I guess. Do we have to?
Oh, yeah, they did our,
mean, it's a
last year
different
they
thing, but I'm
did
just
software
thinking it's not.
licensing. We used to pay for everything under contract services, and they said that the state auditor's office wanted to separate the contract service to the software, separate those. And
So that
then-
was just lumped together
that
when we
was-
split it?
Yep, and then for 2022, they went, instead of that being a contract
Hey.
service, like for a copier, instead of being under the contract service line, they have created a leases line.
Yeah.
Basically, it's easier for the state auditor's office to come in. It in theory, should save us money on the audit because they can print out easier
You don't
reports.
have to dig for it.
Yeah, I'm thinking we
Yes.
pay them $90-some thousand, they can dig for their stuff, but, you know, whatever. They do a good job. They do a
Okay.
good job.
Julie commented to you too, Toby, that there's a new pronouncement that needs to break out leases.
Okay, yeah, so I thought I remember sitting in one of those. Okay,
There
and then
is
just
a
repeat
new-
what you just said, the commissioners in the past had it And then I'll understand it
Yeah,
forever going forward. I just
the-
wanna.
Tony,
Yeah, hi, Julie.
hi, sorry to interrupt, but if
Yeah.
I can clarify,
Okay.
some recent GASB pronouncement that we have to break that out on our financials. So, because it's a liability to the county, right, a lease? So that got enacted, I believe, last year was the first year for us to break that out, if that was what you were asking about.
Yeah, that helps, definitely helps clarify it. And then, so that's good to know, because you'll see when the lease expires, that kind of thing. It's a liability, right,
Correct.
for the term of the lease. Okay, then your statement about the commissioners in the past.
Our lease, yeah,
Look at
so.
Mike, so just so I understand that one.
Previous commissioners, clear back when I started,
Okay.
we didn't
Yeah, you
have
look at
a,
this
yeah,
one. Yeah,
I do.
okay.
We didn't have a dedicated revenue source set up to have any funds going to our capital improvement. So
Yeah.
anything that we did would have to come straight from the general fund, moved over to the capital improvement
Every
fund.
time you had a project, you'd have
Yep,
to move it over.
and so we try to think, instead of taking a huge chunk out of the general fund and transferring, we thought of different ways to slowly just make sure some of those funds were going into capital improvements. So the commissioners decided, hey, let's just dedicate all of the lease payments that we get from
I understand that.
all the buildings, they automatically go to our
It's like
capital.
FSA or whatever, when
Yep.
that comes in, it gets, doesn't
Yep.
go in a general fund, it goes in there.
Yeah, and the county farm, and that's where this request comes from. So there's an old Ohio Revised Code.
You start, you getting it? Yeah, good.
There's an old Ohio
not
Revised
yet.
Code that says any property of the county home shall be deposited into the general fund. So even though it's an ancient Ohio Revised Code, those initially have to be put into the general fund, and that's what this transfer is for. So it could automatically be done, so we wouldn't have to do transfers all the time. Now, like the health department, when they pay their leases, that goes straight into the capital improvement
Okay,
line.
no, that's helpful. I
Yep.
guess I didn't know that.
So it gets about $100,000 a year just kind of transferred into the capital
Okay.
improvement. So it's building up a little bit of a cushion there. But usually we have to transfer more for a project anyway, so.
Okay, thank you. No, it's good to know. Thanks, Julie. We're good.
I have resolution authorizing Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into an agreement contract with Gherkin Paving, contract number 2022-3. The total bid amount, $776,832.09. And then I have a resolution authorizing Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into an agreement with Griffin Pavement Striping, contract number 2022-2. The bid amount for that was $92,452.05. I have a resolution accepting the bid and authorizing an agreement with M&B Asphalt for the Issue 1, Round 36, 2023 Seneca County Township Road Reconstruction Program. The total bid amount for that is $1,176,995.57. And that will be pending prosecutor's approval since I don't actually see the contract. A resolution authorizing the amendment to add funds to include FY22 to the Access Visitation Contract with Patchworks House on behalf of the Seneca County Department of Job and Family Services. I have a resolution establishing the rates for legal services and the prosecution of criminal cases for the Seneca County Humane Society, effective upon passage. If you remember, I think it was last year, earlier in the year, the Humane Society had hired a attorney for prosecution.
Instead of using ours.
Yeah, and another Ohio Revised Code says the commissioners shall pay for it, but the commissioners also can set a reasonable cost. Initially, Derek said, we've got enough staff that could handle this, but that's not what the Ohio Revised Code says. I think we came back with $10 a case just because Prosecutor could have done it. So they came back, Derek and him kind of worked it out to do the same thing our indigent is being paid for. So it's $60 an hour with a maximum per case of $300. They don't do a lot, but it was just,
That's all the years you've been here, has that come up?
no.
No.
And they hired, I mean, it would have been different if they
But
would have had a
because
little
we
bit of
have
a
a policy now,
communication.
that's
There's gotta be stories with that, but.
Yeah. We found out after the fact. If we would have known beforehand, it wouldn't have been, you know, we had to get the legal
So
people
if-
talking.
So if the Humane Society wants an attorney, do we have any say in, can they just hire as many attorneys as they want?
Well, I think there's a limit. They
Is
can
there a-
only hire, yeah,
Yeah.
yep, they can only hire the,
So at some point, can you email me that?
Yep.
Whatever that final, I just wanna,
Yep.
I'll read it once and then I'll have it in my
Yep.
head. Yeah.
yep. Yeah, because I think it was very,
You know what I
very
mean? 'Cause
early
you
last
don't wanna-
year.
We got an attorney, we're gonna call you for everything. Can't work like that. Hey, Bill? Jeez.
There's another legislation we need to get changed.
Okay.
And I have
Thank
a couple resolutions that, my fault, I really thought we did these last year. We were working under these policies. We had worked with Licking County, actually their attorneys in their county got all these documents put together, and most counties have used them for the ARP funding. So, as you know, ARP funding is federal funding, so we have to follow federal procurement processes, and we need to have a procurement policy. And they have said that, because our state purchasing our bidding is 50,000, right? Federal is actually only 10,000, but as long as the county passes the resolution, then it can be 50,000. So that's what the first one is, resolution certifying a $50,000 micro purchase threshold for the use of the American Rescue Plan funds in accordance with 2 CFR 200-320A III, effective March 11th, 2021. That's when the things went into effect. And then they also had one for simplified acquisition threshold of $250,000 for the American Rescue Plan funds in accordance with same CAFR, effective March 11th, 2021. And then a resolution authorizing, oh, not that one. Do you have the policy?
Do we have a policy?
We don't.
I asked her.
Oh.
Do we have the resolution for the policy?
I did it, if it,
It must not be in here, because the next one's the airport.
okay.
But we are accepting our procurement, that's just hard for me to
It's
say.
easy for you to say.
Right, yeah. Procurement policy.
Wordsmith.
Yes.
Syllable at a time, you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
I'll get it, yeah. Just make you guys say it. And passing that policy, Julie's had a chance to review it, the prosecutors reviewed it, and I said, Licking County uses it, so we need to pass that
Procurement.
that
Procurement,
policy.
yeah.
That one.
The buying policy.
Oh, is it Friday yet?
So, this is just American Rescue Plan money
Yes.
and not the next round.
Correct,
Okay.
yep, correct.
That's
And
good.
the next round seems to be a moving target too. I mean, it gets looser and looser.
Right.
As far as what we can use it for.
Right.
So, are we tracking at all how much, this may not be right on subject, are we tracking how much we're reimbursing ourselves for salaries out of the general fund? And then how much of that goes back into the general
Yep.
fund? Okay.
Yep,
So we'll have that number when we
yep,
look at it. All right.
yep. I figured we'd do an update, once we got the, second,
When you say two rounds, the second payment?
No, this is
No,
very,
there's two, go ahead.
well, there's two payments with the
yeah, the American Rescue Plan, the
American
ARP.
There's another round of money.
yeah, that we've
It's
got
not
all the
a-
money where we're gonna get for the CARES Act money.
I got it. So that's what it is,
Yeah.
CARES Act and ARP.
Yeah, this is all CARES Act stuff, yeah.
I can understand.
Yeah, this is part of the ARP,
You're right, this is all,
yeah,
Did we get?
But the difference is CARES and ARP are two different
yes, yes,
chunks of money, but the ARP money's paid over 2 years.
yes,
So I just
Right, and you can
wasn't sure
use,
what
and
you were
you're,
saying.
it's a lot looser in what we can use this money, the ARP money for, than it was the CARES Act money.
They changed that like
Yeah,
mid-round, yeah.
Okay, I follow you.
Yeah.
So,
I just wanted to make sure.
did we get the second payment?
Julie just sent us an email last week.
Thought it
She,
was
she had to file for it, so
Okay.
she said it should come by the end of June.
Okay.
I think we got it, late May, beginning of June last year, and they said it'd come in 12 months,
And
and,
that's
I think
5 point
that's-
something.
yeah.
I
Yep.
think that's a no.
Yeah. We still, we,
Do we have it yet? No.
Okay.
Is it coming? I've been told yes. Last resolution authorizing the FY 2022 Ohio Airport grant for the replacement of runway lighting and rails at the Seneca County Airport, project number 2206, between the Ohio Department of Transportation, Office of Aviation, and the Seneca County Commissioners.
okay, so I would move that we accept the supplemental appropriations, the authorizations, the resolutions, including procurement.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Parries.
Yes. Okay. Any public comment here live? Anybody want to say anything? Advertiser. Okay, we'll bring Adam up. Adam, you good?
Oh, I got a list. It's been 2 weeks. You guys can't keep me waiting
Awesome.
like this. So probably the most important update to give you guys is on the job search that we're undergoing for David's replacement. His last day was on Thursday. The application period closed Monday. So the search committee is looking through those applications now, trying to see where we're at, who we've received, and what our next steps are going to be. Obviously, Commissioner Schuff already mentioned the parking lot party, but Amy asked me to mention it. There will be music in Lot 7. One of our committees will also be conducting a survey to figure out, how our audience is responding to Third Thursday so far this year, just to get a better idea of our audience and everything like that. The first farmers market, the Tim and Seneca Farmers Market, is this Saturday. That will be continuing throughout October every week. That's the first year that the farmers market is going to be a weekly event, and that's just going to continue to increase our community's access to
gonna be on
fresh
South
local
Washington
produce.
Street?
Yes, it's going to continue to be on Washington Street this year.
Because they talked about,
Yeah, there was some discussion about moving it for traffic concerns, but I think they eventually decided that Washington Street really was the best location in terms of access to normal people, and then also allowing the businesses to take part in the crowd that brings downtown. Then finally, the broadband study update was today for the Rural Broadband Task Force. That is going very well, and the survey that the NCORE COG is conducting and Ice Miller are conducting will close on May 31st at the end of the month. And they're going to start pushing that out, really trying to be more forceful in getting as many respondents as possible. John DeVoli, obviously head of NCORE COG, mentioned that he wants to get 1,000 responses. They're at nearly 900 so far to that survey. So there's a very good response rate. They were only expecting, you were on that, 300 something?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, so we are already well up ahead of the curve. We're getting a lot of great responses on that survey. So very hopeful that we're going to have a great data set to really provide good recommendations to you all and providers in the area on how best that we can expand broadband access in Seneca County. That's all I have. If you've got any questions, I'd be happy.
So while you're there, you just triggered a thought. Stacy, on the call, they would like, this is something I'm asking you to get with John Spar.
Okay.
But the broadband, the task force, and who would we direct that to DeVoli, to John? Basically, I jumped ahead. So they're looking at county assets that are in place, like our towers. They're just putting a list together of farm silos to Kiwanis Manor, high buildings, to they're just putting everything on a that they can get, right, Bill? Is that a safe way to say it? So they were talking townships, villages, and Charlene, but the county part didn't come up, and so I offered to
Okay,
have John provide that form.
okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
You guys? So You know that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Keep
Adam,
doing what you're doing.
I just want to say I appreciate you guys holding things together. It's Amy and Karina and is that it at this point?
Carol is our
Yeah, the works.
liaison with
Yeah.
Jobs and Family
So
Services.
thank you guys very much for hanging in there and keeping it together until we can get someone else to run the organization. You guys doing a great job. Thanks for that.
Yeah, we all like a challenge, so
You got
we'll
one.
take
You
it.
got one. Yeah, it runs in your family, buddy. So, thanks for the update.
Thank you.
You had mentioned, I think you mentioned a parking lot. Did you?
Parking lot party.
Yeah, did you ever get a hold of Julie? I forgot to call her to see if, are they gonna allow Kelly to sell tags at the event?
When I
Did you-
texted Julie yesterday, she said that everything was set to go, so
Okay, all right.
I see what the text is.
Julie's still on? She could answer.
Oh,
the
yeah,
question.
she-
I don't know if she is on or not, but
Yeah, she's still there.
Okay, well, put the boss on.
maybe not.
There she
Okay,
is.
so you
Okay. Hi, Commissioners. Again, so what was the question? If tags are going to be sold at the parking lot party
Yes.
this evening? After conversations with Kelly and discussion, it was decided that for accountability and security of the tags, the tags themselves would not be sold there, but there would be ample information given. And I'm sure Kelly and I will help any taxpayer or dog owner get the information to make sure their dogs get licensed. Kelly's got several takeaway items that she's got available for folks at tonight's event. We've got a brochure prepared with very detailed information about dog licensing and the importance of licensing your dog. And there's also a cute coloring page that the staff put together.
So I guess I'm confused, because when I spoke with you yesterday, you said everything was good to go. I mean, we're gonna have a good number of people downtown with their dogs. Is there a reason why we can't sell dog tags?
I'm sorry?
Is there a reason why we can't sell dog tags?
It's just not feasible because I've got another meeting this evening I have to attend as well. So that would not leave ample people for checks and balances.
Kelly could do it.
I was gonna say Kelly volunteered to do it. She's a county.
I'm sorry?
Kelly volunteered to do it, remember?
Yes, but when we talked as a follow-up, that for checks and balances, there really should be two people at all times with the cash at a location like that.
Okay. That's a bummer.
Okay, anything else? Good? Okay, gotcha. Mr. Nutter.
Commissioners, good morning. Thanks for allowing me to speak. I'm Ben Nutter with Wind Waste Innovations. We own and operate Sunny Farms Landfill, and I come to you on behalf of the 60-plus employees that are working directly for us and an additional 40 odd number contractors that are on the site as we speak this morning. So over 100 people out there working. We, to date, have at Sunny Farms Landfill paid over $2.2 million in payroll. So you know all the percentages of taxes that generates. That's just in payroll. We are on pace to do $6.7 million this year just at Sunny Farms Landfill. We pay $1.80 in fees for every ton of construction demolition debris that comes into that site, and there's some of that goes to the townships, some of that comes to the county through the health department, some of it goes to the health department, and then we also pay $5.25 per ton on solid waste that comes through, and that's divided up in different ways. We are working very, very hard on our gas capture system. This is a $40+ million project. And I know people throw money numbers around a lot and it's hard to really grasp them, but $40 million, as you know, is a lot of money. And that money isn't just going to some out-of-state company or those. There are many, many local contractors working out there as we speak today. Klaus Construction, Frankfurt Electric, WIDA Construction has a hand in this. So and that's just a few of the big ones that I see when I drive by. So this is money that is spent here locally to benefit the local community. The people that work for us don't live out of state. They live right here, including me. I am born and raised Seneca County, proud resident, as you all know. So just really wanted to reiterate to the commissioners, I know that we have applied for additional airspace within our borders, and you've been notified of that. This project would allow us to continue to operate for the next 15 to 20 years. The area of additional airspace would be to the north of 108. So going, in between County Road 18 and 108, as you enter the landfill, it would be those areas to the west and right up to where the office building is. As part of this project, because we are an environmental company and we're focused on operational excellence and environmental safety, we are going to reclaim the very original part of the landfill that was only clay lined, which is the way landfills were built before the Clean Water and Air Act and Subtitle D. Now all landfills are synthetically lined, but that area was not lined with a synthetic liner. We're going to dig all that out of there, and we're going to replace clay and put a synthetic liner there, and then replace waste there because it's the right thing to do. That is at no small cost either.
Going there.
Correct. Yeah, I think I pointed that out when we were on the tour. I get a lot of questions about the area just north of US 224. There's an area there where we borrowed soil and we mined stone. That area will be a big lake when we're all done with that. The landfill will not progress to the south any further. That woods there is a pristine wetlands. So we would perceive working with the Parks Department to have public access to those areas when obviously we can't do it when we have equipment there. But when we're done with that area, we would anticipate making that into an area that can be used by local residents. We also have local resident free drop-off for Loudoun Township residents that can register and drop off waste for free as a landfill neighbor. And we've worked with Solid Waste District. Your executive director up there has been very proactive in working on all types of sustainable programs as it relates to recycling, and we're happy to be a partner in that. And we're happy to partner with the Commissioner Schuff and his cleanup of the villages. That's an exciting program. We really like it, and we also help with the river cleanup. I personally went down there. It was picking up stuff out of the river. I even found a disc golf from the in the Hedges area. My son is a disc golf nut, so he was excited about the fact that I found a disc in the water. But a little bit about that $40 million system that we're putting in. That takes the H2S, which is the gas that smelled bad when we had issues. That was the gas that was causing the problem because we didn't have good enough collection and couldn't control that gas, and it would come out and it would leave our borders. Now that doesn't happen because we have this system of pipes and we collect the gas, and currently it goes through a media to bind up the H2S, and then we flare off the rest of the good gases, methane and that type of thing. But that creates another gas, a greenhouse gas called sulfur dioxide. This system that we're putting in is called an internal flare system, and that will take the H2S, which is a gas, and it will convert it back to an element, elemental sulfur. And that elemental sulfur can be reused in agricultural applications, soil stabilization, those types of things. So we won't be flaring off then and creating that sulfur dioxide. It's a significant investment by the company. Landfills are very complex, and so therefore they become very, very expensive. So in order to operate a landfill, you need to have economies of scale. In other words, if we only took 200 or 300 local tons of waste a day, because we're not oblivious that some people don't like the fact that we bring in waste from other states. But if we were only to rely on local tons, how long would it take? We could do the math, but 200 tons a day of local waste, how long would it take to pay for a $40 million investment? And that's not including the cell, that's just that one gas treatment aspect. So you can understand how that is necessary for us. But for those people that think that each state should take care of their own waste, you should understand that Ohio exports thousands of tons of municipal solid waste every day, okay? So it's not just states east, it's Ohio too. And oh, by the way, we have 2 nuclear power plants in Ohio, and there isn't one nuclear waste facility in Ohio. So that goes somewhere too. Happy to answer any questions. Again, it's a standing offer to anyone that would like to come to the landfill. I would happily take them around. My number is easy to find, it's on our website. Stacy has it. Anybody, anytime wants to, I mean, it takes a little scheduling because I do bounce around between several states at this point, but so good luck. I hope the block party goes well. It's disappointing that the dog tags won't be part of that. I understand the frustration.
Yeah, so it's a last minute notice here, but nice to have a heads up.
I remember those days. And another thing I would like to point out, I will never sit there again because as I look in the monitor, I got a lot of gray hair. It's
We'll just
the
blame the
days
camera.
Any questions for me, commissioners?
I don't right now. I think we'll have some though.
Absolutely.
No, it's just, so for me, I just became aware of this. My biggest thing is that I have a lot of questions on would be your vertical expansion. You know, I get the footprint, you're doing what you're doing, you're expanding, but now you're asking for more tonnage, right, per day.
Daily AMR receipts, yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess your reasoning for that is to pay for the 40 million.
Well, it's to pay for everything, but it also, along with that, as you can understand, if we're increasing our daily intake, we're increasing our people that work here, we're increasing our payroll, we're increasing our taxes, we're increasing the fees that we pay.
But if you didn't increase your daily intake and you just kept going the way you're going, what would that do?
Well, I guess I don't know. It would be like asking General Motors to only produce 20 cars instead of 100. You know what I mean? That I don't understand. We're a legitimate business enterprise, and you know, as long as we're operating safe and appropriately, we should be allowed to operate. I mean, that's the way the country works. So, you know, when we had issues, I came to this very board, you know, and the difference between us and some other companies that had issues is that we opened our doors and we opened our books and we opened everything and we said, look, this is here we are. We're not hiding anything from anyone. This is the issue that's causing the problem. This is how we're going to rectify it, and this is how we're going to make sure that it doesn't happen in the future. And we did that, and we've done that. And we do that through resources, time, effort, and energy. Okay, and so we know that it takes a while to regain the trust of the local community. But again, the difference between us and some other companies is we didn't hide anything. We didn't, you know, we knew there was an issue, we went after it, and we fixed it, and we've put safeguards and precautions in place that will not allow us to go backwards, including the $40+ million investment in the gas system. So I guess, again, you know, this is the greatest country in the world, and it's the greatest country in the world for a reason. So
More to come.
okay.
That's good. Thank you.
All right,
That's all
thank
I
you.
have. Yeah, thanks. Good. Anybody else? Jimmy?
I didn't see anything in the chat, but if you are with us and you'd like to
Frank, are
speak,
you good?
you can come forward now.
You don't want to campaign anymore?
Right. The only thing I would add real quick is for the broadband meeting this morning, a couple weak areas in the county, if we can, you know, and I think we're gonna work on a little bit, is like Thompson Township, and then I think around Bloomville and stuff on that, as far as getting a survey back. But I know they're gonna do some stuff through Facebook, but just get the word out there that we can, you know.
You know anybody up in Thompson?
Yeah, you know, 1 or 2 people up that way.
Spread the word.
Okay. Thanks, man, everybody. Jimmy?
Yeah, I don't see anybody online in the
Okay.
chat, but yeah,
Good.
if you want to come forward, go ahead. Unmute button.
11:19, going once.
Going twice, meeting adjourned.
So,